morning, everybody.
Welcome to the Strawberry Moon, bringing you love, joy and positivity with our Reborn family. I'm Lulu.
And I'm Mr. B.
Hello.
Hello.
Great to have you back on again.
Thank you very much.
Right, today we have got several things to do. We have got Lacey and Daphne with us, sitting on our laps. And I have been asked by the people who watch the videos but can't see if I could give some descriptions of the babies. So I'm very happy to do that. In fact, these aren't babies, they are full-size child dolls. So we'll start with Lacey. She would be about the size of a 6-year-old girl. She wears size 6-year-old clothes. She's 3'6" tall. She has a vinyl head and upper body and arms, but from her waist down she's cuddly. And she's also got vinyl legs from just below the knee down to her feet. So she's cuddly in the middle, as you might say. She has nice detailing on the bits of her that are vinyl. She has beautiful turquoise blue eyes and ash blonde hair, which is pulled back in a ponytail and fastened with a big black Tiffany bow, which I bought her a long time ago now, but which she always wears. It's got diamonds in the middle. It's lovely, it is. She's also wearing her black Versace sweatshirt with the bright pink Versace logo and matching leggings and Versace ballerina flats. Daphne is a size smaller. She's about 3'2" and she wears 2 to 3-year-old clothes. And she's very dainty and light. And she has, what colour eyes? Blue eyes?
Blue eyes.
Blue eyes. I thought they were blue. And beautiful, thick, shoulder-length golden hair, which is held back from her face in a black Alice band. She is wearing, what is it, a black sweatshirt with a red squirrel on the front?
Green with a bronzy, gorgeous squirrel on the front and pink butterflies.
Well, I got it warm. And black leggings and beautiful little Versace Mary Janes that strap across the ankle, and they've got little bows on them. So they both look very gorgeous, and they also have nice jewellery. Lacey has bracelets and a watch, and Daphne has bracelets, and they both have earrings, and Lacey has a ring. So that's something about them. And today they're here because we're going to do two things. We're going to open our advent calendar. We have 2 days to open, but first of all, we're going to do magic memories.
Hooray!
Yeah, we've got a magic memories, haven't we, Mr. B?
We certainly have, yeah, but we've been working on it and we're about to give it to you.
Absolutely. One reference I might want to explain really quickly is when someone says you couldn't organise a nosh up in a granary. Obviously, a granary is a grain store, and a nosh up is nosh is a British word meaning to eat. So you couldn't organise a feast in a granary would be another way of putting it. So, without further ado, what's this one called, B?
This is called Dr. Banty's Christmas Surprise.
Here we go.
Magic voices fill the air. Magic memories take us there.
Oh, Lacey, baby. You asked me that about 5 minutes ago.
6 minutes and 20 seconds ago, to be precise.
Oh, Porridge! We're never gonna get to the Christmas market, and I didn't want to go anyway. I should have stayed home with Mummy and Daffy.
Oh dear, Icky. They've taken our princess away and left that nasty, whiny brat in her place again. And with Christmas coming up and everything, whatever can we do? We'll just have to tell Santa to take all those lovely presents away, won't we?
No. I'll be a princess. I'll be good. You'll see. But my legs are getting stiff. I wish I was home. Come on, Taurine. You're a slow toad
Now, Impy, please don't be naughty and don't speak to Kareen like that. She's doing the best she can. There's a lot of traffic about. And anyway, you know she can't answer you. She can only talk to Mummy, me or Daddy. And it's not very nice of you to tell a magical creature off for what she can't help.
That's no way for a princess to behave, baby.
I'm sorry. Tell Kareen I'm sorry, my Bert. I really, really am. Oh, look at you. Oh, shucks. Oh, yummy.
Wow, neat trick, Kareen.
Thank you, Bert. I just thought it might be helpful.
I think Kareen's the bestest tart ever.
Do you only do that for princesses, Kareen? Might you be able to make a coffee appear for a poor, hard-working breadwinner?
I might be able to manage that.
Oh, thanks, Kareen. That smells lovely. I hope it tastes just as good.
I wish we could get to the Christmas market. I want to get something lovely for my Daffy Duck and for Mummy. But I wish we was there. My Bert, I'm bored. What can I do?
Oh, Impy, you've got books, you've got music and cartoons and films and...
Bert, can I make a suggestion?
Please.
Why don't you tell one of your amazing stories? The girls are always talking about them on their way to school. Even I'd like to hear it.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I didn't get any treats, did I?
Story first, treat afterwards.
She's got you now, Bert. Come on, put your thinking cap on.
Come on, my Bert. We want a story, don't we, Iki? Can we have one about our darling Dr. Banty and his friends? Tell me please, my Bert.
Oh, all right then. Anything for my little Impy Imp. How about if I tell you all about Dr. Banty's Christmas surprise?
Yay! Now, we try to listen, Iki, and don't interrupt, because we know what you can be like.
Okay. It was the coldest winter anyone could ever remember. The snow lay thick on the ground. Lacy webs of silver-white frost clung to every bush. Long slender icicles hung like a new kind of fruit from every tree and never melted from morning till night. Every stream and pond was frozen so solid that Sugar Pie, Miss Polly Petal's old horse, used to go round each morning and stomp with his hoof to make holes in the ice so that the poor little goldfish could breathe and the little birds could have a chance of getting some water to drink.
Goodness gracious, that was very cold.
A bit like it is now.
That's right. Dr. Banty was having to work so hard he was nearly flown off his wings. All the little birds and small animals for miles around were struggling to keep warm and to find enough food. The fat flu was running rampant, and Dr. Banty was kept busy from the moment he woke up until the moment he fell into his bed.
Poor little birdies. It's so bad for them in winter.
It is, Impy. Now, as you know, Dr. Banty lived with his owner, Miss Polly Petal, and he had 4 loving wives. Can you remember who they were, Impy?
Let me see. I think we know, don't we? Mrs. Connie, Mrs. Daly, Mrs. Carly, and... who was the other one that helps Dr. Banty with his doctorate? Mrs. Clearly.
Clever Lacey, baby.
That's it, Impy. Well, the 4 wives started to get seriously worried about Dr. Banty. For one thing, he stopped preening his beautiful white doctor's coat, and it soon got to look very grubby. And that was very unlike him.
Oh, no.
And next, he went off his food, and that was even more unlike him. You know how much Dr. Banty loves his food. And Miss Polly Petal always made sure her beloved bantams had plenty in the cold weather. She even put out extra scratch grains at night to keep them warm.
She's such a lovely lady.
But it all came to a head one morning when Dr. Banty woke up. He got out of bed without making a noise. He put on his now very shabby white feather-down doctor's coat. He came downstairs and sat in his chair at the table. He looked at the delicious meal Mrs. Carly put in front of him and barely pecked at it. Worst of all, he said, "Good morning, my dears."
What? He didn't say lollies, lips and lollipops.
He did not. He just said good morning in a very quiet voice indeed. The 4 lady bantams looked at each other in horror. Mrs. Connie, who as you might remember was head wife, took a deep breath Something would have to be done. "Banty, my dear," she began. But just then there came a timid tap at the door, and a little yellow duckling put his head in.
If you please, sir,
He quacked.
Mum says Doctor must come at once. Our Dulcie's got the quacking pox.
"Nonsense, child," said Mrs. Clearly. "The doctor hasn't finished his breakfast. He'll be along straight afterwards. Tell your mother." But Dr. Banty never spoke a word. He just dropped the spoon he'd been fiddling with, got up from the table, picked up his bag and followed the little duck out of the coop.
Oh no! Poor darling Dr. Banty. This isn't good. It isn't good, Iggy. What is he going to do?
When Dr. Banty had gone, the four wives began clearing the almost untouched breakfast. "This isn't good, ladies," said Mrs. Connie. "Our poor husband is lower than I've ever seen him. He needs proper rest, proper food, and what else does he need?" said Mrs. Cayley. "Why," said Mrs. Clearly, "he needs someone to help him. He can't manage this all alone."
Clever, Mrs. Clearly. But is there anyone?
We're going to find out, Impy. "You are right, Clearly," said Mrs. Connie, "but I was going to say that our dear husband needs something else. He needs to know how much we all appreciate him, not just us, all the birds and animals around here. Where would we all be but for his hard work? Now listen, ladies, I have a plan, and you shall all help me."
Oh, Iggy, darling! What's this going to do? Oh, my butt! What's going to happen?
Impy, if you don't tell that Iggy to be quiet, I won't tell you another word.
And I'll stop driving if I don't get to hear the end. I will. I swear I will.
Iggy! Now I've told you about interrupting, Iggy, really. Goodness gracious. I'm sorry, my butt. Please go on.
I should think so. Now, the four wives of Dr. Banty flew up into the sky. Mrs. Polly Petal didn't believe in clipping the wings of chickens, so they were perfectly well able to. Mrs. Cayley went to visit every house, hole, burrow or nest that Dr. Banty had been to recently. Mrs. Carley went all over the district to forage for food and to ask all her neighbours to do the same.
Were they already looking for food, my butt?
Lacey baby, let Bert tell you.
Sorry.
Yes, they were, Impy, but this was for a special reason. Mrs. Connie flew to the big farm to see Dr. Banty's friends, Great Harry the Buff Orpington and also Rocco, the big white rock rooster. She had a very long talk with them and their wives. At first they weren't really interested in her plan. They didn't see any need for it. But in the end, Mrs. Connie was so earnest and talked so eloquently about how much Dr. Banty did for everybody in the district that they agreed. "You've got the rights of it, ma'am," said Great Harry. "I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Doctor."
"And remember when our Mavis was egg-bound that time?"
said Madame Dillis, Great Harry's head wife.
"Oh, that was touch and go, that was."
"And what about Rocco's tummy trouble?" said Rocco Rooster. "Rocco doesn't know what he'd have done without Dr. Banty." "So you will help me?" asked Mrs. Connie. "We will need word spreading all over the place, and there will be so much to organise here too. I cannot do it all."
"Go along with you, Mother,"
sniffed Glennis, one of Great Harry's dusky black wives.
"I'm the best organiser in this hen house. That's a dirty lie for a start,"
cried Gladys.
"You couldn't organise nothing,"
yelled Phyllis.
"You couldn't organise a nosh up in a granary, you couldn't."
And before you could say McNugget, a furious row had broken out. Mrs. Connie flew for her life, but even as she flew away, she was smiling because she knew that her plan had been set in motion.
This is so cool.
Oh, they're so naughty. But they're funny. I wonder what Mrs. Connie's planning.
Well, we'll see, won't we, Imp? Now, about tea time that evening, Dr. Banty found time to drop into his coop for a quick bite to eat and fresh supplies of medicine. He found the coop very cosy, a delicious golden mixed grain bake bubbling on the table and his four wives smiling at him. There was also someone else in the coop, and Dr. Banty's heart sank. He was very hungry and tired, and he had hoped to be able to snatch a rest and a decent meal, and he thought this might be yet another patient until he saw who it was. It was a little silky white bantam girl who looked rather like himself, as she was all dressed in a beautiful gleaming white doctor's coat. "Hello, Father," she said. "Chlorelin, chloroform, cowpole and capsules," squeaked Dr. Banty. "Corrie, my dear, whatever are you doing here?" Corrie Banty smiled sweetly. I'm just out of doctor's school, Father, and I've come to help you. Mum came and got me. You're working much too hard, and you're going to make yourself ill." "Nonsense, nonsense, night old and Novocaine," trumpeted Dr. Banty, but he picked up his knife and fork and tucked into a huge plateful of food, and Mrs. Connie could see him smiling into his feathers.
Oh, my Bert! I didn't know Dr. Banty had a daughter. And is that the end?
"Not quite, Impy, darling. Well, after that, the work still came in thick and fast, but with Dr. Banty and Dr. Corrie doing it between them, it was much easier to manage. The days flew by, and Dr. Banty began to notice twinkling lights in the cottage windows and lighted Christmas trees with piled-up gifts underneath them. He tried not to look or to think about Christmas. After all, it would just be another day to him and his wives.
Oh, Dr. Banty, darling.
Well, in no time at all, it was Christmas Eve. Dr. Banty and Corrie were busy all day. Dr. Banty went home as usual, ate his dinner, had a scratch around in the yard and went to bed. He was then, as you can imagine, very surprised to be woken up by Mrs. Connie at midnight. Demeril, Darwin and dyspepsia," he grumbled loudly. "Is someone sick? Who's got what from where? Camphor and chamomile, carrots and curds." No, Banty dear," said Mrs. Connie. "No one is sick. Something wonderful is about to happen. It is Christmas morning. Come, brush your coat and then come with me."
Oh, icky! What's gonna happen?
Well, Dr. Banty brushed his coat till it gleamed. Then he and Mrs. Connie flew out of the window. They flew to the big farm and alighted in Great Harry's huge chicken run. It had been made comfortable for the chickens with plastic sheeting to keep out the wind and plenty of perches so that the chickens wouldn't have to walk in the snow. Standing in the middle of the run was a beautiful little fir tree. A lot of the smaller animals had carefully dug it up, and Sugar Pie had managed to bring it to the farm across his back. Now it had been carefully stood up and decorated with tinkling icicles, long strings of frosty lace, hanging bunches of hollyberry rubies, and mistletoe pearls. On the little tree's very top was a tiny star made of glass. Mrs. Cayley had found it dropped at the side of the lane from a Christmas wreath.
Oh, how amazing!
Dr. Banty gazed at the tree and he was so surprised he couldn't say a word. But there were more surprises. The door of the big hen house opened. Out came a gentle warmth and a twinkle of lights. Some farmers keep their hen houses warm and lit up, you know, Impy, while others like things to be more natural. Well, out of the hen house came Great Harry, Rocco Rooster, and all their wives. Then into the chicken run came a long procession of ducks, pigeons, sparrows, robins, blackbirds, rabbits, moles, mice, hedgehogs, squirrels, and too many other little animals and birds to even tell you about.
Oh, wow!
Some of the animals had brought wood, and in a little hollow just outside the run they lit a small fire. Soon they were brewing up huge pots of herb tea and heating up hot soup. Some of the animals who had nowhere comfortable to sit had brought little folding chairs or stools. Others had brought baskets and hampers, and from out of the hen house, Madame Dillis and all the other wives brought more food. And everyone brought presents. These were all put in a simply enormous pile around the tree. In no time at all, everyone was enjoying themselves, eating and drinking, laughing and talking, and Dr. Banty was enjoying himself the most of all.
Oh, my Bert! I might try! Oh, that's so lovely! Oh, it's such a lovely surprise!
Yes, Impy, darling, it was a lovely surprise. But the biggest surprise came when it was time to look at the presents. They were all for Dr. Banty. They were only small things, Impy, but every single one had been carefully thought out. Many of them had been homemade, and they were all given to thank the kind doctor who had done so much for everyone there. At the end of the party, everyone got the biggest surprise of all.
What happened?
What? You're interrupting now? Well, everyone had just lifted a cup of tea or mug of soup. Corrie had just proposed a toast. Merry Christmas to our dear healer and best friend Dr. Banty. And as everyone lifted their cup to drink, there was a sparkle, a flutter of gauzy pink wings, a delicious fleeting smell of incense, and suddenly the little fir tree was aglow with tiny twinkling lights, and the star on top was really shining, glowing in all the colours of the rainbow. Everyone gasped and cheered. A fairy had brought some true Christmas magic to them all, and that little tree shone with light and magic all Christmas long. Even Dr. Banty couldn't believe it. "Bellenden and Bicycle," he said, grinning, "and a Merry Christmas to you too."
Oh, my butt. Oh, that was amazing. The best ever.
I don't know how you do it, Bert.
I can see why the girls like your stories so much, Bert.
Thank you. Now, Kareen, how about my treat?
Oh, how sad. Look, we're just arriving.
What? What?
How sad.
I'm only playing. You deserve a treat. Here.
Oh, white chocolate, my favourite. Thanks, Kareen. And a Merry Christmas to you too. Well, I just
Absolutely
had to.
priceless.
You've got to do the voice. So there we are.
So everybody had what they wanted, and we all got to the Christmas, well, they all got to the Christmas market without Lacey driving everyone mad.
Yes, you weren't in. You weren't in it. You weren't there.
Daphne wasn't there, and I wasn't there.
No.
We had to stay home because there were secrets happening.
Oh, yes, that's right. But you were able to hear the story.
I was able to hear the story, and so was Daphne, weren't you, Daphne? Right, now we've got 2 days of Advent calendar, and I'm going to have Daphne help me do this because she didn't get to be in Magic Memories this time. She will be in it next time. So, let's open number 11.
You can do it.
This is so tight to get out. Oh my lord, whatever's that?
That looks like another crocodile. That's probably Mr. Crocodile.
It is a crocodile.
Ah.
Yeah, it's the other crocodile. So I'm going to give that one to you, Lacey.
Okay, good idea. I'll give her that now.
And then here is 12, just here. I'll do this one, Daphne, because it's a bit far for you to reach. If I can get the door to come, which I'm having difficulty at the moment. That's got it.
Oh, Daffy's going to be very happy. We've got a very happy looking penguin.
Oh,
No.
very nice, Daphne. And all sorts is your favourite cuddly penguin, isn't it? Lacey actually has a cuddly Dr. Banty, which we'll show you one of these days.
Yes.
I was going to have him on today, but she's a bit of an armful for Mr. B, so I decided not to. But yeah, we did manage to get a beautiful stuffed, a plush, not a taxidermist stuffed, a plush Banty. There's your penguin, darling, for Lacey for one Christmas. And although he isn't white like Dr. Banty, it was the nearest we could do, so we were really pleased about that.
Yes.
And she absolutely adores him and doesn't let him out of her sight.
Oh, so perhaps another time.
Yeah, we'll see him. Right, so we will love you and leave you for today, as it's been quite a long one. Hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. And in the meantime, we're going to say, take care of yourselves.
Enjoy your babies.
Thank you for watching.
Have a great day.
And
let's be good to each other.
Bye-bye.
Bye.